Welcome to Direct Talk, interviews with leaders, visionaries, and pioneers who are shaping Asia and the rest of the world. Today's guest is Viola Cheng, a young Taiwanese entrepreneur whose distinctive management style is attracting attention. Cheng is the CEO of a company that runs restaurant chains and is committed to hiring people with disadvantaged backgrounds. She firmly believes that providing workers with a stable income and training them with useful work skills enables them to get ahead in life. She also shared why she feels businesses should be more socially responsible. This is Taipei, the political and economic center of Taiwan. A popular restaurant here serves ramen noodles and other common Japanese meals in a casual atmosphere. It's part of a chain of 8 restaurants in and around the city. The chief executive officer of the company that built up this restaurant chain is Viola Cheng.
We have a special lunch combo, menu item 1499. Customers can also order it online.
Chen is turning heads even though she runs a relatively small company. This is due to her policy of hiring people from poorer socioeconomic backgrounds who have slipped through the cracks of society's safety nets but don't receive enough aid from the government.
It didn't have to be restaurants. We wanted to create jobs for people that are at a disadvantage but are eager to work. In this industry, you can start out with no experience and gain useful skills quickly, so our employees can get those skills and earn a stable income.
The wealth disparity has been widening in Taiwan, and those at the lower end of the scale are getting poorer. Hoping to provide jobs to help them break free from their current situation, Cheng and her architect husband started a business after she graduated from university. They chose to open a restaurant where new workers could pick up valuable work skills quickly. After building up experience, they could launch their own business or work at other restaurants if they wanted to. When hiring staff, they gave priority to people from disadvantaged backgrounds.
We don't hire people based on any specific targets in terms of numbers or percentages, but more than 60% of our full-time employees are from socioeconomically vulnerable families. They include people who grew up in orphanages or childcare institutions, single-parent families who are struggling financially, women who have fled domestic violence, middle-aged and elderly women who had no work experience and little prospect of finding a job, and people released from prison. We even had people who were once homeless on our staff. We work very closely with organizations such as family support centers. We contact them when we open a restaurant and need new staff. We have a system where we give priority to interviewing people who use these facilities and are looking for a job. My sister-in-law is my business partner. She used to be a social worker at a family support center, so she has contacts at several organizations that support people who need assistance to get by. She is now in charge of recruitment, and she uses her background and contacts to find new workers.
Cheng's commitment to help the less fortunate was covered by the media and became widely known in Taiwan. Then her company became the first from Taiwan to be certified as a B Corporation, an international title recognizing companies that serve the public good. Receiving this certification required passing a strict evaluation process, and the world took notice of Cheng's company. She was the only representative of Taiwan selected to attend the 2016 Global Entrepreneurship Summit in recognition of her work, where she met with U.S. President Barack Obama.
President Obama gave a wonderful speech to all of us young entrepreneurs. He told us that we shouldn't be afraid of pursuing our dreams, and that even if we can't turn our vision into reality right now, we should have the courage to speak about it and make plans to put our ideas into practice. He said that if we're fully devoted to achieving our dreams, the world will surely lend us a helping hand. Mr. Obama also said that young people should take a good look at how things are being done in the world and always be thinking about how things could or should be. He urged us to tell the entire world what we are trying to do and how hard we are working to make it happen. It was really very inspiring.
In 2017, Cheng received the internationally recognized Stevie Award. It's given to companies and groups that positively serve society. The year after, Forbes magazine picked Cheng for their 30 Under 30 Asia list, showcasing influential young innovators who possess leadership skills and creativity that could change society. This was a nod to her groundbreaking approach to how business should operate. Her efforts were being praised globally.
People around the world were becoming aware of how I was running my business. I remember feeling deep down that I was able to do exactly what Mr. Obama had urged us to do in his speech. Of course, we have to continue working hard, but we also need to keep raising awareness of our efforts among people who could help us and among the wider public. I think that by doing this, more people will share our vision and our approach, not just in Taiwan, but everywhere in the world. And I sincerely hope that this will lead to even more activities to help the socially vulnerable.
Chen was born and raised in a town on the outskirts of Taipei. Her parents were both teachers, and from a young age, they taught her that people should help each other.
When I was young, my mother always told me that if I had $10, I should donate $1 to people who need it more than I do. She taught me to make donations to welfare institutions and to do volunteer work, even when I was a kid. Eventually, I started to realize it wasn't just the people in these institutions who needed help. Poor people without homes were living on the streets or near train stations, and they were depending on charity to get by. These people were there when I was in elementary school, and then many years later, after I moved to Taipei to study at a university there, I'd come back to see my parents in my hometown, and I'd still see the same people living rough near the stations. Sometimes I would give them a little money to buy food for themselves, but it got me thinking, why hasn't the situation changed after so many years? Why are they still homeless and isolated from society? Why can't they find a job? Why do they have to rely on assistance from others? I started thinking of ways that I could help them improve their own lives.
Chen decided then that she would help people who had fallen through the cracks of the social welfare system. But she felt that just giving donations was not enough. She needed to get to know the less fortunate and understand their situations. So during her university days, Chen threw herself into volunteer activities.
We organized some of the volunteer events ourselves. On special days like Mother's Day or Children's Day, or during the winter or summer holidays, we'd visit childcare institutions and orphanages. We'd play games with the kids, take them on picnics. We did all sorts of things. I had a lot of fun with the children during these events, and the more time I spent with them, the more interested I was and the more I wanted to understand how I could help people from disadvantaged social backgrounds.
Chen continues to be active in helping underprivileged children. She created a fund to assist children and families, and 30% of her company's net profits are set aside for this fund. This is used to help cover school expenses, recruit foster parents, sponsor sports games, and host children's events.
Let me give you an example of an event we held. Last year, during the summer holidays, we invited children from the countryside to one of our restaurants. Some of them were from poor families who had never gone to a movie theater or eaten a bowl of ramen. We served them ramen and read them picture books, and then we took them to the movies. They told us that it was a new experience for them, and I was glad to see that they were enjoying themselves. It became a memorable summer event. A company's biggest objective is to make a profit through its business. But on top of that, I think a company has a social responsibility to use those profits to bring about a more balanced society. Personally, I feel that people running a company shouldn't think only about how to make it grow economically. We also have to think about what is best for the environment and for society.
6 years after opening her first restaurant, Chen now operates 8 ramen restaurants and 2 steakhouses. In 2018, she opened 2 hot pot cuisine restaurants, which are popular in Taiwan. Her company now employs 60 people full-time. Chen visits her restaurants every day to keep an eye on things. She checks the number of reservations and the time the customers are expected to arrive, as well as the personal appearance of the employees.
Can you do that button up, please? And your nails are fine. I want to train these employees carefully. It might take time, but I want them to develop the skills that will enable them to become supervisors and managers and play key roles in operating our restaurants. I actually hope that they'll go on to run the restaurants on their own. That will allow me to gradually step away from the front line and concentrate on further developing the company.
This is Ru Li Chi, who works at one of Chen's ramen restaurants. 6 years ago, her husband's business failed and the family became saddled with debt. Ru looked for a job, but her lack of work experience and her age made it difficult to find one.
My children were still in elementary school. I was desperate to do something, but I couldn't find a job. And then I heard about this restaurant. I'd never had a job that involved cooking or serving customers, but my bosses here taught me everything right from the basics. I gained the skills to do these things bit by bit.
The steady income Ru earned by working here brought stability back to her life. Her children went on to finish school. Ru now is a restaurant manager and in charge of supervising the workers. Viola Cheng teaches her employees to think of all their co-workers as one big family.
It would be wonderful if the world became what the ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius taught us about the concept of great harmony. What I mean by that is, you don't think only of your own parents and children, and you don't live your life while loving only your own family. You respect other people's parents as if they were your own, and you treat other people's children with love and care, as if they were your own flesh and blood. Just as you love your own family, so you should show affection for other families too. That's the kind of society I want to see. Also, if lots of people require assistance from the government, that financial burden will weigh heavily on all of us. By providing people with a place to work, I want to reduce the number of people who need support to get by, and this in turn should lighten the social welfare costs we all shoulder. I hope I can help resolve some of our society's problems.
Chen and her husband have one child. His name is 11. Which they chose to indicate that he is their 11th child.
From the time I started my business, I've been a sort of foster parent who paid the school and living expenses for 10 children living in institutions. The youngest of these children were 1 or 2 years old. Others were in middle school, high school. There was even a university student. Since my son was born, I've told him, "You have 10 older brothers and sisters, and you are our 11th child. You must watch and learn from their good qualities, be good friends with them, and not be selfish." So this is my favorite phrase: stay true to your virtues and accomplish your goals. I interpret it to mean that we should always be thinking about other people, whether in our personal lives or through what we do for work. If we face the world with sincerity, do our best, and fulfill our responsibilities, maybe then we can inspire other people to do good as well.